Hola.
What's up?
Good. What about you?
Nothing. Trying to practice English. What are you doing here?
I don't know. I gotta go study, but I guess I'm not able to focus. So
And what are your typical ways to stay focused?
I listen to music,
Okay,
calm
what type
music.
of music? Calm music? Just whatever
Yes.
type?
Yeah, because when you're studying, you don't want to listen to like really loud music.
Mm-hmm.
You want to listen to something calm.
Yeah, but
So
calm can also drain your energy, don't you think so? Calm music.
really,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that you gotta be a little bit more specific. I don't understand
Um,
what kind of calm music do you typically
like
listen to?
violin.
Violin, okay, yeah.
You know, classical music.
Yeah. But
Just
don't you think that energized classical music can provide even better effect?
yeah, energized. You ever watch the movie Oppenheimer
Yeah, but I didn't watch it only in the TikTok
on
clips, I
TikTok?
believe.
Well, it's got some pretty good music. I listened to that.
Isn't it like Hans Zimmer or some shit?
Yes, Hans Zimmer. Yes,
Yeah. His music is worldly popular. It's like he's one of the most important composers of our time, of our era.
really. I don't know. I don't know much about music. I just
No, if
like
we are
his.
talking about the massive Goy slope culture, then Hans Zimmer is number one.
Well, I didn't know that, but his music is really good.
Yeah. So you listen to Hans Zimmer,
Yes, Hans Zimmer.
and what do you study?
I study aerospace engineering.
Wow. So you're like deeply inspired by characters
Ye- Yeah,
like
true.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fucked up to make weapons though.
Why don't you want to make a weapon of mass destruction once again? Even more
That's crazy.
powerful one.
That's crazy.
So that everyone shuts the fuck up.
No, no, I just want to work on airplanes and like
Airplanes.
space. Yeah.
What do you think about the structure of the globe Earth model? Is it legit?
What do you mean globe Earth model?
Like the mainstream one, the NASA one?
Oh, like you mean? Do I think? Do I think the Earth is flat? Is that
No,
it?
I haven't proposed yet any idea. I'm just asking.
So you're asking, do I think the Earth is a
Have you
globe?
ever entertained any thought different to the mainstream one?
Yeah, of course I did.
And how was it? What was the experience?
Well, it was, I guess, obviously it's gonna be through the internet, TikTok, YouTube. But then I study physics,
Yeah.
and physically, it only makes sense if the Earth was a globe. I mean,
But
so
how do really scientific people who really study physics as you do make some open forums and write there about Earth being flat? Like really discuss this idea. I don't know if it is ironic or no, if we're talking about specialists who really possess the scientific knowledge. But how do they really exist if the only possible variant is the globe Earth variant? I'm not here presenting you
yeah,
scientific arguments, because obviously I'm a retard who have never studied physics properly and I don't know shit. But one thing that I do know is that scientists, your colleagues you might say, scientists with an academic degree who believe the flat Earth model do really exist. At least they present themselves as ones who believe. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah. But if you really study physics and you're, engineering or something, if unless you're like at the end of your class, I mean, you'd understand that it's impossible. Or like say how would the Earth be flat or not a globe or whatever? It's just physically impossible. There's no way.
But how
Yeah.
did physics? What is physics to you? Can you define physics?
It's the laws of the universe.
But laws of the universe is a very very broad definition,
Really.
isn't it?
It's the
Laws of the universe, like law of attraction. It is an esoteric spiritual law of the universe. But it doesn't make it physics.
What's law of attraction?
It's like a part of new thinking, new thought, new age spirituality, promoted by people like Bob Proctor and so on.
Okay. Well, maybe I can call physics the objective laws of the universe.
Objective laws of the universe.
Yes, something that doesn't need consciousness to exist.
Okay, evolution. It's part of biology. It's not part of physics.
Well, evolution is, biology, if we're talking about biology is kind of the study of life.
Yeah.
Is that not right?
Life organisms, yes.
Life, right. Physics, I wouldn't, if I wanted to, I just changed the light for some reason.
Do you believe that the color of the light may also influence your mood?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Do you take it into consideration while trying to stay focused?
I don't. Maybe I should.
I believe that the darker light may also deprive you from some energy of yours. Don't you think so?
Maybe. I haven't looked into it. I don't know.
Yeah, let's stay focused then on the main topic, flat Earth.
Right.
Tell me what the physics are.
You have a German accent.
I'm not German, I'm Russian.
Oh, you're Russian, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, my accent is rather strong. I'm here to work on it.
Okay. Yeah, I have a Russian friend. She also has a strong accent.
Yeah, it's difficult for us to change the phonetics, the typical phonetics, because like our sound is very like different from.
You should hear the French. You speak better than most French people.
Well, French phonetics are also very different to the English.
Yeah. I'm from Lebanon.
From where?
Lebanon.
Okay.
Where I study here.
Okay. So you study physics and you don't know what it is.
Yeah, maybe we should take a class about that. That's interesting.
But you know what? Mentioning stuff like law of attraction, talking to a physicist that studies physics really makes some sense, because modern physics are evolving from the period of Newton inventions and works of Newton. But the Newton himself studied also the New Age type of spirituality before New Age, like something that made New Age happen, the new thought happen.
Because
he studied esotericism. He studied esoteric stuff. He studied Hermeticism. He studied alchemy. Don't you know that?
Yeah, I know about that.
He studied Rosicrucianism. He was a Rosicrucianist himself.
Yeah, he wanted to live forever or something.
And at the same time, the laws of the laws that he promoted, the ones that he discovered, you might say, have a very interesting connection to the Hermetic laws and alchemical laws.
What's Hermetic laws? What's that?
Hermeticism is basically an esoteric mystical tradition that comes from ancient Egypt, supposedly, and that is basically a foundation for all the occultism, esoteric, and stuff like that. For all the non-traditional, non-orthodox spirituality, heterodox spirituality, something like I don't know, Masonry, for example, something like Rosicrucianism itself also. So basically, Hermeticism is the foundation of the whole evolution of the magical thought of a Western man. Basically, it all comes from Hermeticism, from the Egyptian mysterious knowledge.
That's interesting.
And so there is a reason why Newton himself studied Hermeticism and laid somewhat a foundation for the modern physicism. You get what I'm saying, right? You stay focused. And also, all of that is, I believe, somewhat related to the modern production of the quantum physics, which are also the part of physics that represent these very old, ancient, hermetic discoveries, but spiritual ones. People write books, people write literature on the fact that quantum physics represent the hermetic laws used to describe the universe.
Really?
I believe that modern physics represent a paradigm of hermetic initiates. That's why it all started with the Newton, who was a hermetic initiate himself, and that's why it is ending in quantum physics, which are also very, very similar to the hermetic laws of the universe. I believe that it's a specific worldview that is being crystallized over time.
Well, maybe I've never looked into hermetics. You seem to have looked into them from the way you're speaking.
Yeah.
But so you know about hermetics, you don't know about physics.
Some
I know
things,
about
some
physics.
things.
You
I'm
know
not a
about
specialist.
Oh, I just don't. I've never even heard. I mean, before this conversation, I've never even heard of them. Hermetics.
Yeah. I believe there is also some deep, profound, mystical or spiritual, you might say, relationship to, for example, Masonry being very intermingled with NASA and cosmic scientists, cosmic rocket ship. You know that one of the most influential rocket scientists that built some models, some important rockets of the modern world was a student of Aleister Crowley.
Who's Aleister Crowley?
Aleister Crowley is one of the most important magicians of the 20th century, one of the most influential figures of the occult world, and all the new age, some say, started with him.
So you're saying that
Google Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons used to build rockets. He was also a scientist, he was also an engineer, but he was initiated into occult and esotericism by Aleister Crowley.
Jack Parsons.
Yes. I'm not trying to argument for some conspiracy theory that all of the NASA scientists are somehow deceivers or of some sort.
Okay, but if they were deceivers, aren't there scientists in Russia and China and France and I mean, there's scientists in my city that I live in. There's scientists in Paris. Are they all connected, even with the geopolitical tensions?
I got your questions, but there are so many levels to it and so many possible interpretations. My worldview is not so crazy because my opinion is that they are all related, but on an unconscious spiritual level, not on a conscious worldly level, but rather on an unconscious. I believe that they serve the same spiritual forces unconsciously. But there are people who promote conspiracy theories about all of them being also somewhat related to each other on a more conscious and worldly level too. And it is also it may also be possible, we never know, because we are just ordinary folks who just walk on the earth and live their ordinary life. People, for example, don't know if the official mainstream COVID narrative has the legitimacy that they claimed or no. And if a conspiracy is possible on an international level, then it may also influence every other part of human knowledge and human development and cosmos too. That's what I'm saying. And at the same time, different forces may present themselves as some sort of opposition, as some sort of conflict, forces in the conflict, but at the same time serve some higher purpose in communion, in unison.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
They may, for example, kings may start wars, but at the same time respect the rulership of one another, the sovereignty and the tradition of how, for example, the peace treaty will be organized. For example, there is always something, some unifying force behind them.
But what would be the point in lying on, stuff like the shape of the earth or whatever?
That's one of the most important questions that people ask when they are being introduced to this theory, and hence you don't even know about possible answers. Tells me that you haven't really entertained this thought of this worldview.
Is it a religious thing? Is it like a religious thing or not?
Very, very profound intuition of yours. Yes, I believe that it really is.
I've stumbled upon it. I know what it is, and I know that But I mean, even I assume you're Christian because
Yes, I am. I'm not a flat earther though. I'm just I'm a postmodernist in a sense. Like I had to overcome the relativism
Right.
and subjectivism, philosophical relativism of postmodernism with Christ. But like I can entertain any thought about our world.
What exactly in the Bible does it say? Because I'm also Christian, or I was born
Good for
Christian,
you.
but what exactly in the Bible? Because I've read the Bible, right? What exactly in the Bible doesn't is opposed to the view that they're presenting? Because I don't see any contradiction, frankly.
Yeah, you know, it is also very, very profound question that also has a lot of levels of different, how do you say?
Okay.
Yeah. Different levels to it. First of all, Bible is only a text. Like Christianity and Christian worldview doesn't end on the text. We gotta ask ourselves, what was first, chicken or egg? If we are evaluating the influence of church and the Bible on one's worldview, on the Christian worldview, obviously we know that chicken being church was the first. Without church, there would be no Bible as we know it today.
Okay.
Because church made Bible happen. That's why we also understand that we need church to interpret the text, and that the whole truth doesn't end with the text. If something isn't written in the Bible, it doesn't mean that we don't have to believe that or practice it or preach that. For example, Jesus Christ was never described as someone brushing his own teeth, but we still we still have to brush our teeth in the morning. You get what I'm saying? It's not an obligation. It's not a spiritual obligation. But there are some spiritual obligations not mentioned in the Bible. And there are some key worldview elements which church preaches that are also never mentioned in the Bible. At the same time, there are some reasons to believe, for example, for flat earthers, that Genesis talks about the earth structure and the flat earth model. Obviously, as with every other modern scientist invention, church obviously tries to adapt to it and say that, for example, the theory of evolution is not really that contradictory to the Christian worldview and Christian anthropology and Christian cosmos, for example.
So before this theory of evolution, what did the church believe exactly?
Creationism, the notion of creationism.
The Eve and Adam and Eve story?
Yes. And the Adam and Eve story is a key story, and it's still preached by the church. But Bible is a text that has to be interpreted, and it can be interpreted in many ways. A more spiritual way, a more literal one, and so on and so on.
True. But if you open your Bible, I'm not sure what version, but personally, when I open my Bible, before it even starts, it kind of states before the Old Testament starts, because where did the Old Testament come from? The Old Testament came from the Jewish stories, okay? And so these stories, are they true? Are they not? Are they legends? So when you open your Bible, on almost the couple of first pages, you can see that they mention, at least on the Bible that I read, they mention that these stories might not be accurate, and they're stories that have been, from ear to mouth, through ages, and now we have them on this book. The New Testament, they don't say anything about that, but the Old Testament, that's what they say about it, because
who
it
says
is what
that?
it is. It's stories that have been,
that were held by tradition.
Yeah, but even the church, at least even the priest I go and talk to, he doesn't say that the Adam and Eve story is real. He tells me, we don't know. That's what he says. It doesn't even matter. It's not even a contradiction if the Adam and Eve story is not real. It's fine. I mean, say it was some legend, and people conserved it or kind of molded it into something. That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. What if God created the universe?
Yes.
Right? And then through billions of years, he decided that there should be this, evolution thing, and then we get to where we are, and that's totally fine. That's okay.
Yeah, the thing is that even if we admit that scientific discoveries have some truth to it, the Bible myths, the Bible mythology never stops possessing some sort of very profound and hyper-real influence on our lives. Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's the reason, for example, for modern priests believe at the same time in the Bible and in science as well.
Right. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Did you know that the Big Bang? Do you think the Big Bang is real or not?
To be honest with you,
You believe in creation?
Yes.
Adam and Eve.
Yes.
So no Big Bang.
Bro, the intentional creation of some personal divinity that we can call God may also have happened via the Big Bang. But the Big Bang itself, lacking God in this model, is already a very, very surprising and difficult to understand miracle. It is already a miracle. And without God, it's difficult to even have some knowledge claims. I believe that God is needed for science. I believe that God is needed for logic. I believe that God is needed for philosophical pursuits. And if science starts lacking God, then the pure chaos enters the room.
The Big Bang was discovered by a priest, actually, and they called him. They said that he was just trying to say that there was a Big Bang, just to say that God is real. And now you might ask yourself, how is that possible? Because the Big Bang is just the universe creating itself. But that's not true, because before, scientists thought that the universe didn't have a beginning. It was just stale, right? And then there's this priest, some Catholic priest came in, and he was like, no, actually...
Jesuit, probably, yeah?
I don't know. He just came in and he was like, actually, the universe has a beginning. It's the Big Bang. And they were like, what are you talking about? You're just trying to prove God is real. And for the first couple of years, no scientists wanted to believe it. And then there was the proof and everything. So the Big Bang actually proves more than it doesn't that there is a creator, because where are you getting this matter and energy from exactly? How does it just happen to exist, right?
Yes.
And so now the new theory amongst scientists, because as you said, it's impossible for it to happen without God. It's just not logical. So the new theory is that actually the universe is stale and it doesn't have a beginning, but the Big Bang is simply a phase of the universe. It's not its beginning. That's how they kind of explain it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks and sounds rather naive, because science starts entering the sphere of philosophy and starts playing with really very, very philosophical notions, like they play with some chemicals in their lab. But these things are very different, categorically different. Like what is really reality? What is really eternity? What is really, I don't know, cosmos? What really cosmos is? What is really being itself? What is really the creation of the universe? And what is really a universe? Can it really be created? Because some notions of the universe may, for example, lack the space of possibility for the universe to even be created, and it depends on the definition itself. But scientists look rather naive in pursuing understanding deep philosophical and I would say religious and spiritual questions via the scientific method that was never invented for it.
So you're saying that these questions would never be able, we'll never be able to answer these questions?
Scientifically, I mean, because we gotta understand and stay humble while understanding the endings of scientific method.
Right.
Not everything can be answered scientifically. For example, moral questions will never be answered scientifically.
True, it's subjective.
Well, I believe that morals are objective, because I am a Christian.
Right, true.
But they are not scientific.
In quantum physics, which I'll be taking next semester, there's a quote, I'm not sure who said that, but if you understand quantum physics, then you don't understand quantum physics, because nobody understands.
Yes,
quantum
exactly,
physics.
exactly.
It's so mind-blowing that you just have to kind of, I'm not sure if I can explain it to you right now, but it's just kind of, you have to accept things that are just not logical.
Exactly.
Right? You just don't understand it, but they're real. Right?
Yes.
So is light made up of particles or waves?
Exactly.
Well, they're both. They're both. Light is
And
made up of both.
what's very funny about wave particle things? The perception of humans is related to this, to them being particles or waves.
Exactly. If you look at light, if you observe it, it's particles. But if you don't observe it, it's waves.
Yes.
So, is consciousness related to this?
Exactly. And
what's
that
going on
starting talking about the one who perceives, the agent of the perceiving, of the act of perceiving itself, interconnected with the so-called objective reality that we're supposed to be not related to the one who perceives it, is already a sphere of religion, of spirituality, or at least philosophy.
Yeah. I don't think we should be afraid of any idea.
Exactly. Neither of flat earth.
Sure.
Yeah, I believe I really highly recommend you studying some history of philosophy. If you are a noble person who pursues dignity itself, I recommend you studying the history of philosophy, of Western philosophy, and at the same time the postmodern philosophy also. I recommend you studying Plato, David Hume, and also maybe studying psychology a little bit, and Hermeticism. If you study ancient mysteries, maybe you will be a more talented inventor in regards of pursuing the truths that quantum physics as a discipline possess.
Maybe I'll do that on vacation, because I have so much shit to do.
I think that if you study esotericism, you will be a lot more talented physicist than if you only study physics, because as we know from history, they were all initiated magicians who invented the modern physics.
That's crazy.
That's very fucking crazy, and that has something to tell us also about the modern science as well, making so many conflicts with the traditional Abrahamic worldviews, aspects of traditional worldview.
Yeah.
That's why all the flat earthers end up being Christians, or at least gnostics.
Flat earthers, I don't know about flat earth. That might be a little too far for me, but
Exactly.
Because I've already looked into it, and it just didn't really hold for me.
But who did you watch? Have you watched Eric Dubay, probably?
I don't know about the names.
Flat Earth Dave. There is always some. Do you believe in any conspiracy theories?
Of course. I mean.
And you get, for example, people sometimes say that Jews control the world. Jews run the world. Sometimes people say that. We all know this. And
I think that a group that happen to be Jewish control the world, but it's not that your average Jewish neighbor has anything to do with it,
yeah. But at the same time, you are being able to entertain a thought of some group of Jewish people being very, very powerful and impose their will on a larger scale on some very, very important public international events.
It's mainly blackmail. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein. Who was Jeffrey Epstein?
Exactly. Exactly.
He goes on, he blackmails some very important people, and now they serve Israel. And
yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Right? It's that simple, frankly.
It's just factual. But at the same time, there are obviously, and there always will be, some conspiracy theorists that believe that every fucking Jewish person is an agent of Mossad, and so on and so on.
That would not hold. There's millions. How many Jewish people are there? You can't keep a secret.
14 millions, maybe 15.
You can't keep a secret between 14 million people. That's just not gonna work.
Yes.
It's a group, and they happen to be Jewish because historically Jewish people were, they aided each other, and they were just a close community. So naturally, something like this would develop amongst them.
Yes. But what I'm telling you is that in every other conspiracy pursuit, in every other conspiracy theory, there is some slope. Always there are some stupid people that defend this conspiracy theory that at the end of analyzing it may be really legit and true. They pursue it in a very stupid way, making very stupid arguments, defending very, very stupid sorts of positions. You get what I'm saying? So I believe there are very, very stupid flat earthers and some more, how do I say it, intelligent.
Okay. Yeah.
And for me, it is really a philosophical question, not really a physical question, not really a scientific question.
Philosophical. It's a question that involves the Earth and our world. How could it be philosophical?
Yeah, but what is world and what is Earth? It sounds stupid at first when I ask it, but it really starts making sense if you study.
The rock in space on which we're standing.
Space? What is fucking space? Scientists don't know that. If it started or if it not. If it started with Big Bang, what was before the Big Bang? We don't really get what is space. We don't really get. Some people thought that atoms, there are some particles that will never be divided, and that matter consists of that. Now we understand that matter, if we dig really, really deep into it, is not what we thought. Is not what we were thinking before. So do we really know what space is? It sounds a little bit woo-woo and sounds like I'm really pushing some narrative, but
it's a philosophical question.
That's what I'm saying. It's a philosophical question. That's why I'm telling you that it's not a scientific question for me. I believe that it's a battle of worldviews. I believe that some sort of scientific methods, some sort distorted sorts of science existed obviously before the discovery of the globe model. Obviously, the globe model was a discovery, an event in history, and people didn't know that before. But science still was practiced. I believe that there are different sciences that start with different philosophical presuppositions and may be practiced in a very different way and making people come to different conclusions as a result. And I also don't believe that the world and space and so-called objective reality is that philosophically, substantially independent of our worldview. I believe that we somehow are very mystically interconnected with the reality itself, and what we believe really matters objectively.
Well, that's interesting, actually.
That's why I recommend you studying psychology, philosophy, maybe mysticism even, because it will blow your mind. And people who started your pursuit that you are studying right now academically were also studying the shit that I'm talking about.
Yeah. So you're saying that the laws or physics would be different if consciousness didn't exist? Is that what I'm getting at?
Well, bro, no, that's very, very hard push, because I've never mentioned the word consciousness. The word consciousness itself...
Well, you said worldview, and there isn't any worldview without consciousness.
Yes.
So...
it depends. Maybe one does not believe in consciousness, but believes in soul, or nous, you might say.
Okay, soul, whatever you want to call it.
No, bro, it's not like that. It's not easy like you want it to be. Consciousness or soul, these are all different terms, meaning different, some different things. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. Yes, I get what you're saying. The very ability to perceive something and practice your cognitive abilities.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, quantum physics, the academic modern science itself, tells us that there is some relation to it.
That's true.
It's not my invention. Neither it is an invention of science itself. It is a very, very old invention of Egyptians.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'll never know, actually. So.
But you can get closer to the truth. Do you think that, for example, if science, as it started, remained Christian and only Christian, that the results of studies would differ at least a little?
It depends what you say by Christian, because, well, first of all, science was practiced in China, and there wasn't Christianity in China, was there? So science was never really Christian.
It depends on what we call science also.
Well, it depends on what you call Christian also, because so it's a very vague question.
Yeah. I'm talking about discovering the truth about the world via the scientific method of empiricism.
What? So you're saying you said that you could entertain the idea of a flat Earth.
Yeah.
What experiment you might do to be able to prove that?
What experiment? For example, making a camera attached to a air balloon and making it fly.
Okay, well, do that. But
There are some videos of Earth remaining flat on camera, on video, on the height you can Google it. On the height supposedly being even more than NASA tells us that the Earth starts looking round. Do you get what I'm saying? My English is very bad.
No, actually, you explained it very well. I'll look it up on YouTube.
So, like, obviously, this does that. The very fact that NASA is lying in some details doesn't mean that the Earth is flat. But everything in science is very, very related to our start presuppositions. For example, the science may have started with the belief of Adam and Eve legend, myth. Or it may start with some, I don't know, Masonic, Hermetic, or even pagan, openly pagan worldview. Do you get what I'm saying? And because of that, the results may differ. Because science itself is not objective every time. Science also has some axioms to it that we just believe in to start practicing science.
There's always axioms.
Science cannot prove the scientific method via the scientific method itself. We start believing in it.
Yeah, I get what. Yeah, that's true.
And penetrating these philosophical questions may also open your mind to some new discoveries and make you a more talented scientist.
Hopefully. I'm just trying to look up the footage from space.
And what is your goal in life? What are your goals in general?
I don't
Maybe
know.
you don't give a fuck about being an inventor.
Well, I mean, it'd be great, but I'm an engineering student mainly. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I'd like to work on. If I worked on space projects, that'd be nice. You know,
but but not because you are pursuing some high goal, but just because of the bag. Yes.
Well, because it's cool. I just think it's cool. That's all.
How does it inspire you? Can you explain a little bit, like maybe poetically,
How does it,
in rhymes?
how does it inspire me?
Yeah. Because for me, I'll explain myself a little bit so that you get the question. For me, science is really fucking boring. At least mathematical science. I'm a scientist myself to some degree. I study classical studies. I study antiquity. I study ancient Greece, ancient Rome in a very scientific academic way. But at the same time, everything that's related to mathematics, everything related to something very algorithmical, something very dry, something very like physics, chemistry, biology. It's always bored the fuck out of me.
Well, I've never been so good at math, to be honest. I'm mainly good at physics, but math is, you know, it's like so interesting. It's like I don't know how to describe it, but it's very interesting to me. I find math very interesting, at least. You said it wasn't objective. You said everything was subjective, but math is one of those things that's like, how can you not say that 1 + 1 = 2?
Exactly.
It's wild. But at the same time, we got the idea that 1 + 1 = 2 because I got two objects and I looked at them and I said, okay, well, that's 1 and that's 1 and now that's 2. So in a way, math is also perception, right? You get your math from the world.
But one doesn't equal the object that it represents.
Well, no, I'm trying to say, because this is actually, it's a philosophical chapter that we took in high school, actually. It's whether math is subjective. So do you get math from the world, or is math something that comes from, I don't know, maybe God or something, and then you find it in the universe, right? And there were two arguments. One, that math is actually, you get math from the world, and like you look at this and you're like, okay.
No, it's a stupid liberal idea. It gets people to cut their dick off.
What?
This paradigm of making mathematics work because of some empiric data is the paradigm that is being used by the elites to kill the notion of God. And LGBT modern feminist zombies always try to prove everything from the empiric data, but at the same time a lot of stuff cannot be proved by simply empiric data.
You mean the worldview,
well,
is that what you mean?
One is not the object that it represents. One is something immaterial.
Yes, I understand. But
without the rationality of mathematics, without the human ability of producing thoughts within the mind itself, true, the objects will remain mere objects without the connotations of mathematics.
But if you get a blind human and a deaf human, so somebody who doesn't have any senses, would he be able to think of the notion 1 and 2 and 1 plus 1 equals 2?
Of course.
Would he be able to do that?
Of course. Yes.
I don't know. Maybe. I say it's both. I say you learn from the world and you make your own thoughts. That's
For example, one of the most important scientists of chemistry, Mendeleev, he invented the most influential discovery. He discovered it. He made it happen via dreams. He dragged it out of the dream world. Yeah, it came to him via dream.
Possible. Yeah, it's possible. That's possible.
So empiricists are only concerned and can only be concerned with the objects itself, if they are consistent. But our source of knowledge is not only the empirical data of the objects that we can measure in the vivid world, but also we make some discoveries happen just by practicing the ratio. Like mathematicians make new inventions, make new discoveries in mathematics just by writing some symbols on the desk that just represent some immaterial functions and laws. It's not because they count some stones on the beach.
But didn't they start like at the beginning, at the very base of mathematics? Didn't we start by counting stones on the beach?
We started evaluating what is happening around us in the mind.
True, that's true.
Without mind, there would be no mathematics. We would just eat the banana and fuck each other.
Of course, exactly.
Yeah. So true. I remind you to study religion a little bit more, to study Christianity a little bit more, and take your faith seriously, and it will be very, very fruitful even if you're in your secular career of engineering. I also
physics. Actually, I find that you can find God in the laws of physics. Because
obviously,
at the end of the day, it's laws.
Yes.
And who put those laws there?
Exactly.
Did they just come to exist?
Yeah. There is also a reason why Pythagoras perceived mathematics itself as a sacred pursuit. They believed that mathematics and geometry can make you get closer to the divine realm.
Course. Naturally, yeah.
Because we still discover them, but not because of some measurements in the lab.
No.
Yeah.
That's true. That's what I like about math, actually, in physics.
Yeah. I recommend you getting a little bit more spiritual because of it, studying a little bit some history of philosophy, some history of psychology, because one of the main problems of the modernity, as some classical people, traditional people at least tell us, is that the educational system made us more and more separate from one another. They made the educational pursuit get more and more specific, And that's why the modern man is just simply a robot that just produces the function, some specific function in the society. But the traditional education was all about studying everything that is important, not just one thing. And that's how it produced a lot more geniuses.
That's true.
Like, there is a reason that Newton studied all of this mystical spiritual stuff and became one of the most influential scientists of our era. And so I recommend you studying all of that and diving a little bit deeper into it, obviously not at the expense of your main pursuit, but maybe perceiving it as something that can broaden your consciousness and your scientific, studies themselves.
Yeah, sure, man.
So good luck, bro.
Thank you. All right, bye.
Hi, can I have $30, please?
Why are you always black?